Okay, we're taking a look at a game from PrepTest 50, game number 1. And we have a sequencing game with a few twists here. Um, and that even though we have these 6 consecutive stops, they have to keep switching airlines, weirdly enough, and there's only 4 airlines to use from. So some of these we're definitely going to use more than once of this L, M, N, and O, and some of them we might not use at all. It just says that she can choose from among the 4 airlines, not that she has to. So it's a little bit of a selection game, and some people call those in-out games, combined with an element of sequencing. We set our sketch up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up along the top. Looks good. Then we get our rules. Whichever airline she chooses to stop, she chooses one of the other airlines the next stop. So I just said no consecutive airlines. You could write this out: no LL, no MM, no NN, no OO, but no consecutive airlines seemed easier. The first airline or the first stop will be the same as the last stop. It will have the same airline there, and 2 and 4 will also be the same. We get a rule that says whenever she chooses L or M at a stop, she doesn't choose N at the next stop, so I won't see an LN, I won't see an MN in that order. And at stop number 5, she chooses N or O. That's our one relatively concrete rule. We can certainly put that in there. I would not worry about doing too many deductions up front. If you take a look at this game, it only has 5 questions, and it's the first game on the section, which the first game on the section, to the best of my knowledge, has never been the hard game. Doesn't mean it's the easy game, it's just it's never been the hard game. But question number 1 is going to be based upon the rules, because that's our acceptability question. It's always based upon the rules when we get one that appears like that. But questions number 2, 3, and 5 all begin with the word if. When questions begin with the word if, you tend to be able to just solve them with a new sketch. And that only leaves question number 4 as probably the most difficult one. And we'll save that to last. So we'll do question 1 first, then 2, 3, and 5, and then we'll come back to 4 and do it last. It always makes the most sense to do that on almost any logic game, 99% of them. So let's just jump in. Take a look at question number 1. So first one is we can't have any consecutive airlines. Well, answer choice A has an MM, so that is absolutely gone. But we scan quickly through the other ones. Looks like all the other ones look fine. 1 and 6 need to be the same as each other. We have a violation in answer choice E. We have O in slot number 1 and N in slot number 6. E is absolutely gone. 2 and 4 need to be the same as each other. Well, answer choice B has an L in slot number 2 and an M in slot number 4. That is gone, but our remaining ones, C and D, check out. And then next, we cannot have an LN or an MN. Answer choice C has an MN. It is gone. Rule by rule by rule, we end up on answer choice D. Do it one rule at a time. It is the fastest, quickest way to do it. Certainly, you could check all 6 of these rules against A, then all 6 of these rules against B, then all 6 rules against C, then all 6 of these rules against D, and you would have gotten there, but you would have checked the rules 24 times. It's more efficient to do it one rule at a time against all the answer choices. On we go to question number 2. If the traveler chooses N at stop number 5, so I'm just going to drop my line down, make a new sketch. So N at stop number 5, and it says which of the following could be an accurate list of the airlines she chooses at 1, 2, and 3, respectively. All right, well, let's go to our rules about N. What do we know about N? Well, I know there can't be an L in slot number 4. I know there can't be an M in slot number 4. And based on the first rule, I know there can't be an N. Well, that seriously narrows it down. Now I know O goes in slot number 4. Well, what do I know about slot number 4? Well, I know slot number 4 is the same as slot number 2. So now I know there is an O in slot number 2. Now I also know that slot number 1 is constrained because it has to be the same as number 6. Number 6 can't be an N because then we'd have 2 N's next to each other, so number 1 can't be an N. And this can't be an O because then we'd have 2 O's next to each other. That narrows down slot number 1 to L or M, followed by an O. We take a look at the answer choices. Do any of these have an L or an M followed by an O? Answer choice B does, and it turns out that question number 2 is B. Nice. On we go to question number 3. Drop our line down. Gives us new information that we're only using M, N, and O in this one. Can't use L in this one, evidently. And we're going to be choosing O at stop 5. So we put an O in stop number 5. And then they ask, what must stops 1, 2, and 3 be? So we don't have a choice in this matter. Whatever's going to happen here is 100% going to happen here. All right. Well, let's think about how slot number 5 affects our other slots. Obviously, we know automatically that slot number 5 is affecting slots numbers 4 and 6. These can't be L, but they can't be O either, but they could be M or N. And if you reach that choice, don't try to juggle the pieces in your head. You try to juggle the pieces in your head, you will absolutely make yourself nuts. Just choose one of them. I'll make one of them M. I'll make one of them N. Get it out of your head, get it down on paper. We know that this affects slot number 2, so I'll make that M or N. And let's try and add some more stuff to this. So, for instance, in this first one, this is our most constrained slot right now, slot number 1. This can't be M, because I can't have 2 M's in a row. It can't be L, because the question said we can't use L. It can't be O, because then I would have 2 O's, so it absolutely has to be N. So I would have an N, an M. What would this be? Well, I can't have an MN, so this can't be N. I can't have another M, so it can't be M. I can't use L here, so it has to be O. NMO, turns out that's what it has to be. And an N would go there in slot number 6. We take a look at this second sketch. Well, this can't be O, because then I would have an O in slot number 6, and I'd have 2 O's next to each other in 5 and 6. It can't be L, because the question said it can't be L, and it can't be M, because then I would have MN. It turns out there's nothing I can put here, which means this sketch fails, which means what must the slots be? It must be N, M, and O in that order. And question number 3 is C. It says exactly that. The rules force this to happen. We didn't make any choices. We should have split it into 2 sketches because you did not know which way it was going to go. As long as you don't hesitate, splitting into 2 sketches doesn't take any time at all. This sketch succeeded, this sketch failed, so this sketch became a must be true. Question number 5. Drop our line down. And here it says, the traveler chooses O at stop number 2. I'll put an O in on stop number 2. Then which of the following could be an accurate list of the airlines she chooses at 5 and 6, respectively? Well, if there's an O in 2, then I know there's going to be an O in slot number 4. And then I have to think about how that O is affecting everything else. So, for instance, if I have an O here, well, I can't put an O in slot number 5, so now I know that has to be an N for sure. And knowing that there's an N in slot number 5, you're already narrowed down to B and C. They both have an N in slot number 5. And then it just becomes, could this be an L? Well, if 6 was an L, this would be an L. I don't see a serious problem with that. Could this be an O? O, well, then I'd have 2 O's next to each other, which means answer choice C doesn't work in question number 5, but answer choice B does, and question number 5 is B. Very, very nice. And that brings us back to question number 4, and it just says, which of the following cannot be an accurate list of the airlines the travelers chooses at 1 and 2, respectively? Now, this is the kind of question where if you can't see anything you can do, then unfortunately you are actually going to need to test every answer choice. There's not a clever way around it. You'd test A, you'd put in L and M on 1 and 2, you'd put in M and L in 4 and 6, because 1 and 2 affect 4 and 6. But also, if you recognize that, you could also think about it this way. Whatever's in 1 and 2 is also going to be in 4 and 6, right? Our second and third rules say that. Well, we also know slot number 5 is O or N, which means what can't I have on either side of slot number 5? I can't have both an O and an N, and answer choice E has that. And so if you happen to notice that, you can get to the answer very quickly. Now, if you didn't notice that, then yeah, unfortunately, you do have to go in and test every answer choice. And in this case, tough luck, it turned out to be E. You'd have to test A, B, C, and D. But by the way, if you did test A, B, C, and D, and none of those were the correct answer, I'd want you to stop. If it's not A, B, C, or D, the answer is E. You have to trust that on test day, because on test day, you can't, if you absolutely know it's already E because you've eliminated the others, you need to be able to get to the other questions. You can't keep making sketches just to validate something you already know. Choose E, move on with confidence. But in this case, yeah, you could also look into going, who do 1 and 2 affect? They affect 4 and 6. Who do 4 and 6 affect? They affect 5. What do you know about 5? You know 5 is O or N. So 4 and 6 cannot be both O and N. Pretty good. All right, hope that helped. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments or drop me an email. Hope that helped.